one of Charlie Kirk's children is not his.
Now, this whole situation has officially jumped from tense to straight-up explosive. Charlie Kirk's parents are saying they finally got their hands on proof, the kind that confirmed every silent doubt they'd been holding in about Erika. And right after that, boom! She allegedly shut down their access to the kids and might even be preparing to ask for a protective order. That's not a small move, that's a loud one. For a lot of people watching this drama unfold, that decision didn't ease anything. It turned the pressure all the way up. If you've been keeping up from day one, you already know the rumors never really died down. For years, people questioned whether Charlie was the biological father of all the children he shares with Erika. Most of that talk stayed online, low-key but constant. Still, Charlie's parents reportedly believed a DNA test would clear the air and finally settle everything in a calm, private way. What they never saw coming was Erika slamming the door before any real conversation could even start. That sudden cutoff is exactly why this situation is now heading straight to court.
Y'all, whose kids are these? Whose kids are these? Erika Kirk provided this as proof of where she was.
Insiders say Charlie's parents feel boxed out and completely silenced, and they're not about to sit back while Erika controls the whole story behind closed doors. From their point of view, this isn't about stirring up drama, it's about getting answers. They believe the truth shouldn't be locked away or buried under legal paperwork. So now people are asking the same question loud and bold. Was Erika always planning to cut Charlie's parents off, or did something happen that made her switch into full defense mode? The timing feels sharp, the moves look guarded, and the silence, that's got the internet talking heavy. For months, online voices were pushing Charlie's parents to request DNA testing. At first, a lot of people felt that crossed a serious line. A grieving widow deserved compassion, not pressure. But as time passed, some of Erika's actions started to feel less private and more staged, at least in the eyes of critics. That's when public opinion slowly began to shift. Sources close to the situation say the tension didn't just appear overnight, it had been building behind the scenes for a while. Moving forward after a loss is normal, nobody's denying that. But critics are pointing at what they call a full-on public grief tour, packed with high-energy appearances, media moments, and a vibe that didn't sit right with everyone. To them, it wasn't quiet mourning. It looked polished, timed, almost staged, and that's when trust really started to crack. Now, with lawyers stepping in and emotions running hot, this is no longer something happening in private. Every move is under a microscope. Every pause gets dissected online. People are watching closely, waiting to see who speaks first and what comes out when they finally do.
I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband, that was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line, and I remember looking behind me, and in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was.
For Charlie's parents, this went way past hurt feelings. They saw it as straight-up disrespect to Charlie's memory and a personal blow to their family. In their eyes, Erika moved like Charlie didn't leave behind parents and loved ones who were there long before she came into his life. Seeing her take center stage felt to them less like honoring him and more like setting herself up for the next chapter. And that perception, it cut deep and changed everything. To them, it felt like Charlie's life was being turned into a background prop in someone else's storyline. Instead of quiet remembrance, they saw polished appearances, carefully timed moments, and what looked like a public image play to stay relevant. While Erika stepped forward in the spotlight, Charlie's parents were grieving off-camera, feeling pushed out of a story they helped build long before there were headlines or flashing lights. But what really shook them was how things played out with the kids. According to insiders, there wasn't much of a pause, no long stretch of grounding or deep emotional presence after such a life-changing loss. The children had just experienced something huge, yet sources claim Erika was back on the move quickly, with others stepping in to help cover daily responsibilities.
And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar, and as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that? No, not until we were like 3 months into it.
Case didn't just raise eyebrows, it triggered serious concern. People close to the family say Charlie's parents were stunned by how fast everything seemed to shift, especially when it came to hands-on parenting during such a sensitive moment. It pushed them into a place they never expected to be, asking hard questions they didn't even want to think about. They never wanted to question any of this. No grandparent ever wants those doubts crossing their mind, especially at a time like that. That's when the quiet doubts started getting louder. Charlie's parents reportedly began asking themselves if Erika's behavior only made sense if the emotional weight of the loss wasn't what it seemed. Just thinking that way was enough to keep them up at night, replaying old conversations, patterns, little moments that suddenly felt strange in hindsight. And this is where everything really starts to spin out. Over the past few months, more details about Erika's past have come out, and those details are a big reason Charlie's parents felt DNA testing wasn't just an option, it was necessary. This isn't just random gossip floating around online. Erika has publicly contradicted her own story multiple times, and those inconsistencies are documented. She's admitted more than once to reshaping parts of her background to appeal to Charlie. That's not just smoothing over an old chapter. Critics say it touches the foundation of their relationship, including how they first met, a story that seems to shift depending on when it's told. In one version, Erika said she randomly met Charlie while waiting in line at an airport with her mom, like it was pure chance. In other versions, the location, the timing, even the small details shift just enough to make Charlie's parents uneasy. To them, these weren't simple memory mix-ups. They looked like warning signs stacking up, one after another, each one louder than the last.
Remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day so you always know you're loved? See?
This is Sesame Street.
It is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby.
Then there's another version of the story. In that telling, Erika says she was introduced to Charlie by 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸, the current COO of TPUSA, who allegedly wanted to connect her with Charlie for a job interview. She presented it as a clean, professional introduction that slowly turned into something more between 2018 and 2019. Almost like everything lined up perfectly at just the right time, like fate stepped in and handled the rest. But when stories keep adjusting like that, it naturally raises questions. For Charlie's parents, those shifting details didn't feel random. They felt calculated, and that's what made them look at the whole timeline a lot closer. But once people started digging into the timeline, things didn't line up the way they were told. Public records and old connections suggest Erika may have known about Charlie as far back as 2015, even if he didn't know her at that point. And here's the part that really made people stop and think. Erika's ex, 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸, who she was reportedly in a serious relationship with back then, also knew Charlie personally. There are actual photos showing 𝗘𝗿𝗶 and Charlie spending time together and even playing basketball. That overlap is hard to ignore. So the idea that Erika had zero connection, zero awareness, and no shared circle until years later just doesn't sit right with a lot of observers. That sweet, meet-cute story started sounding less like a spontaneous moment and more like a carefully polished narrative.
And that was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call. I got a call from Miss Erika Kirk. Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally.
And for Charlie's parents, the toughest part is that all these contradictions only started coming into focus after Charlie passed away, when he wasn't here to speak for himself. By that point, Charlie's parents weren't just second-guessing small details, they were questioning the whole picture. If someone could reshape an entire backstory to get close to their son, what else might not be adding up? But the moment that really pushed them over the edge was this. Erika had repeatedly said that Charlie was the only man she had ever seriously dated. That claim didn't hold up under even basic checking. Public records, old interviews, and past social media posts show she had multiple relationships before Charlie, and at least one of them was very serious. That relationship was with professional baseball player Tyler J.T. Massey. At the time, Erika appeared deeply invested. She publicly called her favorite human, her best friend, and her incredible boyfriend. She didn't hide how close they were, she showcased it. Then things got even louder. After an interview with Arizona Foothills magazine, engagement-style photos of Erika and JT started making rounds online. A lot of people genuinely thought wedding bells were coming next. The pictures, the captions, the whole energy pointed straight toward a future together. And then, suddenly, it ended. No clear explanation, no detailed closure, just silence, which only added more questions to an already messy timeline.
Done eating, and he just looked at me and he goes, I'm not going to hire you. And I said, I did not need the job. I said, I was fine with consulting with you guys if you needed anything with regard to help. I have plenty of things going on in New York City. He said, I'm going to date.
When Charlie's parents laid everything out side by side, the shifting timelines, the rewritten origin stories, the past relationships that didn't match her public claims, it stopped looking like random mix-ups. To them, this wasn't fuzzy memory. It felt like a pattern. And once you see a pattern like that, you can't just ignore it. But what really blindsided them was when an old video resurfaced showing Erika and JT at a Trump rally. Standing between them was a young girl who, to many viewers, looked strikingly similar to JT. That single image spread fast online, and speculation took off almost instantly. People started asking whether Erika had a whole different chapter in her life before she ever got involved with Charlie. Now, even putting rumors aside, there were still timeline questions that didn't sit right.
So I happened to be there in Israel too.
And so I was on a pilgrimage with my mom in Israel, and I turned around and I saw someone who looked super familiar.
Y'all, this Erika Kirk Israeli honeypot story just got way more sinister.
Does anyone else think this is Erika Kirk putting in fake tears into her eyes?
Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generation.
She appeared to go from being publicly close with one ex to dating, then getting engaged to Charlie in less than a year. That's a fast shift by any standard. And right in the middle of that timeline sits another familiar name, 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗶, a connection that keeps resurfacing in ways that only add more tension to an already complicated story. 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗶 isn't just some random ex from the past. He's now a major figure within TPUSA, and his background has been raising eyebrows for years. Between his political connections and his family ties, rumors have been circling non-stop. Some people have even questioned whether he had influence behind the scenes in ways nobody fully understood. That alone was enough to make Charlie's parents uncomfortable. But it didn't stop there. Less than a year before Erika and Charlie got engaged, 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸 was publicly posting photos of himself and Erika on painting dates, clearly showing they were together. That detail hit hard, because at that same time, Erika's version of the timeline painted a much cleaner break. Seeing that overlap made the whole story feel less organic and more pieced together. And just when it seemed like it couldn't get more complicated, things took an even stranger turn. Around that same time, Erika and Charlie welcomed their first child. Not long after, 𝗘𝗿𝗶𝗸 publicly shared that he had also welcomed a baby. Once people spotted that timing, the DNA questions didn't sound like random internet noise anymore. For many watching, it became something they felt couldn't be brushed off. What really caught attention was Erika's response, or what people saw as no response at all. Insiders claim she didn't openly push back against the idea of DNA testing, but she also never directly addressed it. She didn't clearly deny the rumors, she didn't step in to shut them down. And when Charlie's parents reportedly asked for direct answers, sources say she remained calm and quiet. That silence stood out. To a lot of observers, it felt intentional. Some viewers said it didn't look like shock, it looked measured, almost strategic, like someone sticking to a plan no matter how loud the outside noise got. Whether that's fair or not, that's the perception that started spreading fast online. Meanwhile, public opinion has shifted hard. Early on, many people supported Erika during her very public grieving process. But now some of those same supporters are stepping back. Defending her has become harder in certain circles, and even longtime followers admit they're confused by how everything has unfolded.
But what I will say is, when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here.
Comments have turned intense. Posts criticizing her actions spread quickly. Memes pull in massive views. The tone online has moved from sympathy to skepticism in record time. Erika may choose to tune it out, but one thing is obvious. The automatic goodwill she once had simply for being Charlie's wife isn't as strong as it used to be, and right now it doesn't look like it's bouncing back. But just when it seemed like the narrative couldn't twist any further, everything flipped in a way nobody saw coming. You would think with all the backlash building up, Erika might slow down, reflect, maybe rethink a few moves. That's what most people expected. But instead of easing up, she allegedly pressed harder. Critics say she kept up the public appearances while reportedly cutting Charlie's parents off completely. No warning, no gradual distance, just a full stop. Insiders claim Charlie's parents are now totally shut out. No visits, no sleepovers, no casual pop-ins, not even a quick hello, just silence. And that silence hit heavy. That firm cutoff is what reportedly pushed them past their limit. From their side, this isn't about talking it through anymore. They believe they've tried that route. Now it's legal. They're taking it straight to court, and that changes everything. Once this lands in front of a judge, the outcome is uncertain, and that's where the tension spikes. Online, people are asking the question nobody wanted to say out loud. Could custody arrangements actually shift? Or will Erika walk away from this legal battle still fully in control, leaving Charlie's parents heartbroken for the long run? One thing is clear, the DNA questions didn't disappear. The conflict didn't fade. What she may have hoped would quiet down is now front and center, and there's no sidestepping it anymore. It didn't erase the timeline gaps, it didn't clear up the overlaps, and it definitely didn't silence the unanswered questions. If anything, it made one thing obvious: this was never going to end quietly. The tighter the doors closed, the louder the doubts echoed. For Charlie's parents, the grief has shifted into something heavier. They're not just mourning now, they're fighting. Fighting for access, fighting for clarity, fighting for what they believe is the truth that's been out of reach from day one. And once this steps into a courtroom, the rules change completely. Online, narratives can be shaped. In court, it's different. No filters, no carefully timed statements, no polished pauses for effect. Judges don't rule on emotions or public image. They look at documents, dates, timelines, and hard facts. And if anything in those records doesn't line up the way it's been presented, this moves beyond online debate. It becomes something lasting, something that can't just be reframed or brushed aside. Now, I want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this situation is still unfolding. If this breakdown gave you clarity, hit like, subscribe, and share so others can weigh in too. And stay locked in for what comes next.